Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life After Television. Stories of people who have taken the career beyond cable, beyond streaming, beyond just the 20 or 40 or 120-minute format. We want something, we want to talk to people and make them feel more inspired about what our industry is going through. Today, I am talking to the lovely Cecile Weiland. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So your career, we have a lot of similarities, but give me the download. Tell me about your career in your television, where you kind of all came from.
Well, I guess all the way back in the beginning, I went to journalism school. I got a master's in journalism, and then I decided that I did not want to work as an on-air reporter at the
Mhm.
time in the
Yeah.
90s. And I somehow got into documentary, and it was love at first job. I mean, I loved everything about documentaries. I loved how they take a few months to produce, how you get to do everything from the beginning to the end. I love traveling, used to travel so much as an AP and then a producer. And basically, mostly unscripted, mostly Discovery, legacy networks, TLC, and Travel Channel and Discovery Channel, my entire career.
Mhm.
And then finally, after being a freelancer for many, many years, in 2019, I got a job as an executive producer at Warner Brothers Discovery, and I was overseeing 80 to 100 hours of paranormal and uh, mostly paranormal programming, UFOs, and so forth
And
a
80
year.
to 120 sounds about right. Yeah.
80 to 120
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. That's a lot. Yep.
But it didn't feel like a lot
Yeah.
at all because first of all, I was very passionate about making documentaries, but also I was extremely experienced. I'd come from the field. So I could just fix these shows or oversee these shows or do notes in no time at all. So for me, it was the most ideal position. And then when I first arrived, we launched Discovery Plus, and then COVID happened, and then we launched Max, and then after the following of the two Discovery and Warner Brothers coming together, that's when all the layoffs started, and I got laid off.
And that was a lot of hours for people who aren't as familiar with television. So her role as an executive producer is to work closely with the production company and make sure that together they bring the product that's going to resonate most with the audience. And so it's a lot of client relations, it's a lot of collaboration, it's a lot of project management, and I'm throwing in these other terms that come in handy of thinking about the skill set that we have goes beyond just television. It's problem solving, it's project management, it's client management, it's shaping an idea, it's all those different things. And that it sounds like you were awesome at your job and handling quite a bit. So the reason I wanted to talk to you, so talk to me about after the layoff, what you did.
So after the layoff, I decided that I'm French American. My parents are both French, and I grew up in the US, but my father, I inherited an apartment from him right outside of Paris, and it was laying vacant. And I decided, why not move there for 6 to 8 months and kind of just try it out? So my husband and my 13-year-old son, they're American. They don't speak French, but my son is also French American like me. He has dual citizenship. And then we got a visa for my husband, and we all just moved over there. I put my son in an international school. My husband helped me decorate the apartment, and just we basically lived the French life for 8 months, and it was incredible. I somehow landed a job. Well, I know exactly how I landed the job, and I'll tell you more about that, which is basically my modus operandi when I'm looking for a job. But I landed a job with French television with RMC, which is, they do a lot of very similar to like History Channel, Discovery Channel programming. And I was a showrunner on two international co-productions in Paris.
That's fantastic. That's great. So tell us a little bit about your MO, how you approach it.
So my MO, I personally have never gotten a job by sending in my resume somewhere. The only way I've done it is through networking. And I mean, I know it's cliche, but really what I do is I spend a while in what I call the exploratory phase, where I don't put too much pressure on myself and I just dream and read a lot and try to think of what could I do next that would fit my skills. So for Paris, it was still working in TV, but once I figured out that there was programming in Paris that was similar to American programming, then I was able to go through my networks to find the right people in France to talk to. I found the need. I found what was missing, and they were missing someone who could bridge the gap between the American television and French television and speak both languages and be able to write in both languages. So you have to find a need also, like a
No, I think that's brilliant. I think you recognized, like you said, you recognized a need. You also, through your experience of being laid off and research, which great producers live on research. I had a scientist say to me, they assumed that I got a degree in biology, and I'm like, no, I have an art degree. It was because I had done so much research that I could have a conversation with them on a good level, not a deep academic level. But research is so important. And you did the research, and part of that is you saw what the marketplace was going through. And part of what the marketplace is going through for people out there is there's more international co-pros. There's more connection of French, German, UK, Japanese, Korean wanting to bring their assets to the United States, and the United States actually being open to taking those assets now, having these international co-productions. So you saw a place where your skill set came in handy, it was perfect timing, right?
yeah, it was perfect timing. And I learned everything about international co-productions, which we don't do that many of here in the US. And
Not right now, but we
not
will.
right now, but we will.
Right.
I'm positioned in case
Yeah.
when that happens. But working with different cultures, different languages, different time zones, it's quite incredible. We had a team, the Parisian team, the French team, we were the editorial. So we took care of the creative part of it, the editorial part. Then we worked with the UK, we worked with the Czech Republic or Czechia, and we worked with Australia. And each production company had a different piece.
Mhm.
One was doing the graphics, one was doing the archival research, but we had to communicate. And there are so many different cultural nuances as to how people work. So I learned all about that.
Mhm.
I really appreciated how the French like to take a 1 hour lunch. You're in the office. It's not like they go off to a restaurant and drink wine in the middle of the day, but they all get together. The entire team gets together and we all sit in the conference room and we have lunch together every
Mhm.
day.
Mhm. That's
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 so nice.
that's so fantastic. I When I worked at Red Rock, we had an office in South Africa. And one of the things we had to work through and gradually succeeded in overcoming this was communication differences. Is South Africans tend to be very direct in emails. They don't, there isn't a lot of, not a lot of flourish. They're just very straightforward. This is it, etc. And I remember someone coming to me and saying, I think they're really unhappy. I think that they're angry. I don't know. I don't think they like working with us. And I was like, no, no, they're just South African. Just get on the phone with them. It'll be totally fine. Right. And they got on the phone. They were like,
Right.
oh, yeah, they are. It's just different, learning the different communication styles culturally and still going towards that same goal. You're all still working towards that same project, that same
Right.
end piece. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I did notice that one thing you did, correct me if I'm wrong, is tell me a little bit about you went to Sunnyside, right? The Sunnyside
So
conference?
yes, that was the very first time I had ever been to a market, a
Yeah,
documentary market.
tell people what Sunnyside is. I think that's good for
So
people to
sunny
know.
side of the dock, which is located in La Rochelle, France, which is on the Atlantic coast. Each year, they have documentary filmmakers from around the world and production companies who want to fund documentaries come to this market. And it's one of the friendliest, loveliest documentary markets I've heard. I've only been to La Rochelle,
That's
so
pretty great.
I'm
Yeah.
spoiled. But it's just, they have incredible panels, and they also they show what's coming up with the different channels around the world, like what what the lineup is going to be, and they also have categories of documentaries that compete against each other for grants for a large grant. And I was so impressed by the impact documentaries.
Mhm.
There were five. They show clips. The filmmaker is there to present his or her film, and then at the end they choose a winner. And it was just so inspiring. The filmmakers and just like how the vibe there, friendly, open, inspiring.
What's going on now?
Well, because it's okay. So when I came back from France, I'm back in the US now. I realized that maybe international co-productions is not for me right now because the market is so chaotic. So I started thinking about reinventing myself once again.
Mhm.
And right now, I realized that what do producers do the best? They produce. And so I realized I would be a great relocations specialist. And so because I'm a specialist in now in moving to France and going through all the administration of, getting visas. And so that's my new business. I'm helping Americans move to France. And it's been incredible because it's my passion as well. So I guess once you find a need, so I found another need.
Mhm.
All of these Americans who want to move to either Portugal or France or Italy or Spain or even Costa Rica. So I found a need. I found that my skills, my producing skills, directly transfer to relocations.
So again, I'm gonna tee you up. I'm gonna totally boost you. Is as a producer, you're used to solving problems, and as a producer, you're used to getting stuff done, of making sure that the plan is executed, and helping people do this, helping people relocate, which there's so many hurdles and so many roadblocks, and it can be incredibly frustrating. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It's a great idea and a great use of skill set and passion. That's great.
So that's where I would welcome anyone who is reinventing themselves to look at how their skills can directly translate. But at the same time, I'm realizing that I have a big gap in digital media marketing.
Mhm.
Making those kind of short videos. So I'm learning that right now. So I'm actually taking courses to learn that. So it's also important to update your skills and to really be realistic, right? Be realistic about what you need to do in order to make something happen.
I think that's great advice. I've been in the business for 23 years and I've seen enormous changes, technology, everything, and we have to constantly adapt. Do you have any last bit of advice to people who may be feeling frustrated, or just a last piece of wisdom to pass along?
My last piece of wisdom, which is basically the way I operate all the time, is just keep moving forward. Just keep going. The more work, the more research, the more you put into it, there are days where I'm like, what am I doing? And then there are days where things just click, right? But you just have to keep moving forward and try not to wallow too much in the past. Just keep going, keep going. That would be my biggest piece of advice. My second piece of advice, which
Yeah.
I've learned a lot, is if you're thinking about going into making videos for YouTube or the next iteration of perhaps what a TV producer would do, start doing it now. Like start creating content. Creating content is probably the number one thing that we should be doing right now as content creators. We shouldn't just think, oh, we're going to be stuck in the long form format forever. No, you have to start thinking about the future, and the future is shorter content, more snackable content, but you have to start. That's actually probably one of my biggest hurdles right now is I need to push myself to create more content.
I think when we've been so much reactive, we've been in a reactive field. To be proactive, it takes a different mindset. But I think in every one of these, I've brought in some type of movie or TV quote. But there's a great quote from Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Rosa says to Amy, "2 steps forward, 1 step back is still 1 step forward. Just keep moving forward. You'll still keep moving forward." Well, Cecile, throw out your website. How can people find you?
So I have two places right now, or actually three. On Facebook, I have a group called Best Places to Live in France. And we just show beautiful towns and villages and cities in France. And we talk about the pros and cons of living in that city. I also have the same Instagram, Best Places to Live in France. And then my husband and I are launching. We've launched it, but we're still in the process of really finalizing it. It's called FrenchSunset.com, and it's our relocation company to France. And there's a quiz that you can take where we identify the 3 ideal locations for you in France.
Love it. I'm going to definitely do it. Definitely do it. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for passing along your wisdom. And everybody, LinkedIn is also a great place to check out these websites and go to LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you. My
Bye.
pleasure. Bye.